Hi, I'm Bethany. Thanks for watching. So for class number 3, you're going to start out by having them pick one of the sketch-along fashion pieces that you bring each week. Have them do one they haven't done before just to warm up. And the next thing I want you to explain to them is what we're going to do. You should have given them their template based on the body type that they picked. Explain that what we're going to do is put that template down, and with tracing paper, you're going to put the paper over top of it, and we're going to eventually draw clothes over top of those templates. So you'll have the body underneath, and then you'll draw the clothes over top, and the clothes won't necessarily sit right on the body on the template, but they'll flow over top of it. So it's a really easy process to come up with really unique and quality looking drawings for fashion. You will need to bring lots of color books into class today. The students will be picking a color scheme for their fashion line. This is the book I will be using with my students, the Color Palette Primer. And it's actually a book for picking color schemes for your home. So what I will do with all my students is, based on their mood board, they are going to look through this book and find a color scheme, and these already work. You don't have to understand color theory. If you get a color book, it'll do it for you. And so I went through this book eventually until I found what worked for my color scheme based on farm tractors and gardening in the summer for women, modern. And I marked these colors in the book, and your students will need to do that. Have them pick 3 colors and 1 color that is a neutral. And so what I ended up picking was a red and some spring green and a pink, and a neutral would be a gray or a tan or a white or a black to go along with it. You can always use white, you can always use black, you can always break the rules, but you need a place to start. And so when your student picks their 4 colors, and you're actually going to go to the hardware store and you're going to get the color swatches that match the colors that they picked in the book. And then they will staple or tape these to their mood board so they know exactly what their color scheme is going to be. And they'll use that for their entire design line. Have them pick their color scheme. In the color books that you brought, hopefully they're groups of colors that are together. They hopefully fit the season. You can talk to students about what colors go with which season. You can go on YouTube and find a video about what colors go with each season. But it's okay in the end for them to just pick a color scheme that they like. Do your best to match colored pencils to the 3 to 4 colors that your student picked. That way they can start to use the colored pencils on their images when they're ready. They will know where their colors belong on an image when it's time to paint. In preparation for this week's class, you will also need to print out pages off the internet or Pinterest that have these keywords. Find images that have these things for your students. So today, as they're in class and for homework, as they continue to fill pages with sketching, they're starting to be inspired by new images. I have lots printed for my kids, but I'm not going to link these because they're not my images, of pant lengths and collars and lapels, and spread them out all over the tables and the desks in your classroom. That way your students can look at them, and as they're sketching today, their ideas start to change a little bit, and they start to be like, oh, I could add this, or I could change this, and they'll have new ideas. You need to keep pushing them to come up with more ideas. So you need to bring lots of these to class to inspire them. Continue to bring your fashion design books in. At this point, don't critique the students' work too much. They just need to keep sketching and be encouraged to keep sketching. So spread those example papers that you printed out all over the table and kind of keep rotating them for your students. That way they can be inspired by different images. They can start to trace their favorite things over top of the templates of the model that you gave them, but they don't have to yet. And hopefully you printed off unique images to each one of your students based on what they'd picked. Before my students went home, I sent extra inspiration images that I had printed home with them because in class they didn't really seem to look at them too much. But I know if they had them at home, they might be a little more interested in looking at them than they were in class. When you are printing your extra images online for your kids to see, look at the list that they picked, look at their design inspiration choices, and print specific things based on what your students picked. So if your students picked gardening, find gardening inspired drawing, fashion design drawing, or if they're going to do equine inspired fashion, go above my list of things to look for and try to get what your kids are going to want to be inspired by specific. Your homework will be to get the color swatches for your kids for next week, and their homework is to fill 3 more pages with new ideas.